So these are pictures of some of the people he was with. Again, Father Ohanes. These two are lieutenants from the French. They were sent to protect them. This is his Yesai, his good friend that he goes through the desert with and comes back and goes out again. And this is a doctor. At first I thought this was Pisani, but it's not. This is a doctor. Yeah. And that's my grandfather there. Okay. More information. This is where they send in money. 2,400 Egyptian gold. Now, back then that was a lot of money, right? I mean, those gold pieces, I imagine that's what that is. 2,400 gold pieces, which maybe put a couple zeros after that for today, right? So that, okay. These are some of the refugees they brought back from the desert. Again, here he is. All these people, again, the same group of people going out, coming back, going out, coming back, bringing people. Stories are there. Again, this is a courtyard near Aleppo, where they started collecting Armenians. Okay. This is from the French. This is for the Amman line in English, signed by Captain Pisani, but it's he's French. Again, all these documents are in the book. These are leaders from Damascus that he kept. I put all the photos, all the documents, everything that he kept, I put them in the book because I figured it might mean something to somebody historically, you know, down the road. So this is historically a document of what went on with him. Now in Damascus, this was the AGBU group that handled the orphans. There were a lot of orphanages in Damascus, and these were some of the people who were involved in taking care of the orphans. And there was a supervisory committee of the refugee home founded by the HBU. And I won't go into all their names. Again, another letter. This is letters of appreciation to my grandfather. After he brought back many of the orphans, after he brought back all these individuals from the desert, then he went on in 1919 to be the director of the first Armenian hospital in Damascus. So this was that hospital. Then he was asked by, one more, he was asked by the Archbishop to go back and collect the Armenian orphans that were still amongst the families. Now, he collected people that were in the desert. Now, they wanted him to go back and find Armenian children that had been taken into homes by the Arabs and Kurds, etc. So that was, he formed a team that he'd been working with before. And this is actually, this picture is very interesting because that's his brother. It was one of the orphans that he found who was able to find their way home. So he actually was able to find one of his orphans, which was his brother. And what's interesting is the Kafafians. Now, I didn't know it, but I don't know if you know Vahe Berberian. His wife, Betty, sends me an email saying, "Oh my God, I just read your book. It's amazing. That's my grandfather. That's my grandfather." So the relationship relationships are very close. We don't know, right? And these are the people that helped him find all these orphans. This is his group. And they went from the cover, they're all on the cover.
Which one is he?
Which one is he missing?
Felix and...
Yeah. All right. So here they are again. This is his group. This is a tribe that they took a couple of 7 young Armenian women were held captive by this group. They're Kurds. And they took them back. So what they would do was go in and they were given documentation by King Faisal. At that time he had become king. And saying that we have the right to come into your house and take any Armenian children from you. A decree. They had it. Unfortunately, I don't have it. But he said,
how do they know that they were Armenian?
You know, a rumor mill. The rumor mill. And they knew each other. What's really amazing, people from Urfa knew each other. They're small villages, even though they had a very good idea. One family knew the other family. And they all knew each other. Just like if you think of the community in the church, if suddenly everybody got spread out, and you went and suddenly you started looking for people in this community from your church, your local church, right? Suddenly you see, oh, I know that kid. I've seen that kid before, right? You've seen him somewhere. You know who he is. But you might not know the name. But, oh, yeah, I remember now, it's so-and-so's kid. Right. That's how they knew. They said these kids were, and that's one word of mouth got out that they were looking for them. People started coming to them saying, I know there's an Armenian child over here. Right. So, you know, if a neighbor didn't like the other neighbor, oh boy. Right? Okay. Here's how they were being brought back. Okay? These are the children that they found. Now the numbers I explained to you before, there was a letter that we included in the book from an organization in Egypt that was an orphanage that was publishing the names of orphans so that people could find their relatives. In other words, there may be somebody from your family that survived. I mean, in all the chaos, you're walking along in the caravan and suddenly you're attacked and people will run this way, that way, everything's going on. You don't know. Maybe some of your relatives survived. Right now you're an orphan. Here it is. It's the Armenian Relief Society of Alexandria. There's a letter addressed to Levon explaining that they received a list of names and photographs of the orphans and they would be publishing this information in Verpuni, which must have been Vorperun or something. Verpuni. I've been trying to find this Verpuni. Vorpuni? Vorpuni. Vorperun. Right? It means orphan. So it must have been some kind of a publication that they were publishing with all the names of the orphans. So there's some research that needs to be done to find out about that. Again, some people that he brought back to Damascus. Here's, again, my grandfather, and this is my grandmother. And we knew that they're just engaged because the ring on her finger. Again, more orphan. This is a family that was found.
What year is that?
You know, some of these pictures were not labeled with the dates, so we're not sure, but it must have been sometime around 1919. We would guess something around 1919.
Because my mother was maybe in one of these groups. I'm trying to pinpoint it.
Here again, children brought back from orphanage. These are orphans. Again, more orphans. These are just some of the people they brought back. Again and again. This is an American-sponsored orphanage. These two, both of these. So Americans have put in some money into this. This is my grandfather's family. This is their wedding. And then these are the kids. My dad here. Here again.
Where did they reside?
Sorry?
Where did they reside, the picture there?
This is taken in Gaza. He ended up living in Gaza. He started in Beersheba, was it? And then they moved to Gaza, and he never left Gaza. He ended up dying there. Yeah, one of the few Armenian families there. But he was actually a tailor. His work, his craft was a tailor. He was a tailor. This is his brother, Ikran, which he found. One of the stories of the orphans, and his wife. And this is the back cover. All the people that helped.
You mentioned the Armenian Relief Society a while ago. And that was just founded, established around that time.
Armenian.
That's different. It's,
I work with young too.
It was called the Armenian Orphan Relief Society.
excuse me.
Yeah.
He's confused. I read it. It says Armenian Orphan Relief Society, not ARS.
Yeah, not AR.
That's a different organization.
Okay.
Armenian Federation, you were saying, right?
No.
Armenian
Yeah.
Relief Society.
Yeah. It's in,
Armenian Relief Society, you said.
I
That's today's I work with young too.
I didn't say Armenian Relief Society. There was
It was the Armenian Orphan Relief Society. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Okay.
go back to
Armenian
That's
Orphan
what
Relief.
Armenian Orphan Relief Society. Yeah.
This is a different organization.
I guess the most important thing would be that the two issues would be the protection of the Armenians based from the Arab documentation and the other thing would be the protection of the Armenians by the British and the French by allowing them to be on the trains. So, yeah. Yeah.
The title of the book, The Crows of the Desert, who got it and how did it come up?
Yeah, I came up with that idea. My mom and I went back and forth, back and forth. Finally, it was originally, what was it? The expeditionary thing. And I found that it needed to be something a little more interesting. So Crows of the Desert came about, and I'm going to say you have to read the book too.
Not only
You'll
that,
find it.
because there were crows that died in the desert. That's why.
You just gave